Boop. Okay. Now we're live and recording.
We are on the internet.
Yeah. How have you been? How's your day, year, month?
Day has been there's a lot going on. I think I might have socially broken up with somebody, if that makes any sense. So that's been a
Oh,
little rough.
socially broken up.
So that's a little rough, but aside from that, so that's my day, basically. Um,
How
as
does
for
that
my,
work? How do you socially break up with someone?
long distance, we were talking long distance for a long time, and some things happened today, and I think we just both decided to cease communications with each other. So, it happens, you know, on the occasion. Um, so that's my day. For my week, I don't know. It's Tuesday. Just started asking that question again on Friday. As for my year, I mean, I guess it's going. I'm still alive. I'm taking my real estate exam at the end of the year so I can sell some houses. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna chug along. I guess existing in a healthy way, which is better than how it was previously. So yeah.
Yeah, healthy existence is good existence. Um, so as far as like nerd stuff goes,
What is it?
uh,
Empty?
what?
Empty across the board?
No, I actually saw just before, like maybe like an hour ago,
Mm.
um, that the new She-Hulk trailer got released.
Oh.
So we can do like some live react if you want.
Uh, yeah, I think we'd probably both have to watch it independently though, because we probably can't stream it because of copyright, right?
No, we can. I mean,
Oh,
I don't think you get live DMCA'd when you don't get views, and also, streamers with like hundreds of thousands of views watch YouTube all day, so
that's true.
I think it should be fine. But yeah, we should probably still watch it independently so it syncs up correctly.
I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this trailer just got released 2 hours ago.
Wow, live. That's right. That's why everyone's here to listen to us.
Yeah, and for people who are listening to the podcast version and won't be seeing this, this is why you should watch us live every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m.
PST, Pacific Standard.
Pacific timing, yes.
Pacific Standard.
But yeah, I mean, you can always check out the video. It'll be on YouTube as well. And you can follow the NerdLedger on Twitch so you can watch us live. Let me just add this browser source and stuff. This is we're not professionals, but we could be, totally, for sure.
Mm. Alright, well, I'm ready to watch it when you are.
Yeah, let me actually just do add window capture. Okay, I'm going to do this. Bop. Video. There. Okay. So, bop. All right, let's watch this video. I'll press play in 3, 2, 1.
Being a superhero is a trial by fire. Who's gonna protect the world if not people like you?
Jennifer Walters. I'm a lawyer. I have great friends.
Can we get some shots, please? It's an emergency.
A demanding job.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
And a frustrating family.
Cause you didn't ask for this, but you still gotta deal with it. Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
Oh.
Bruce, kind of feels like if I don't transform, I'm gonna die.
want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
Can you tell us where She-Hulk is?
Jen, you're a story now.
Girl, your ass looks crazy right now. You could be an Avenger.
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. Is there anything more depressing than dating in your 30s?
Yeah, this is the best date I've had in a while.
Oh,
Should we split some fries?
let's get those to go.
All right.
Yep, same. Just finished it.
Um,
I don't read the comics, so I don't know if she's supposed to look more like the actual Hulk. But I also know, like, the regular Hulk wears clothes now, and he's like, Professor Hulk or whatever it's called. So
no, she's supposed to look how she looks there mostly. But it was interesting. I mean, there's always a lot to think about with stuff like this. I predict you are not a fan of the CGI.
I mean, it kind of looks like shit, but I don't know how else they can do it in a place where she probably has to wear a full bodysuit or something like that, unless they're trying some newfangled technology where they just kind of apply it. I know they have this thing where they can just draw dots on your face and stuff in very specific locations.
That's probably how they do it. Like it's probably all motion capture.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe because of the budget of the show, it's not great motion capture.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at things like Smog or Gollum, like even Gollum was like the start of motion capture, and it was still like better looking, I guess you could say, than She-Hulk.
It looks like someone slid her it looks like someone just took her and picked her up by the tip of her toe, and they dipped her in a green vat, and then they set her down. Okay, congrats, you're the Hulk now. There's no, but again, I know that she's supposed to look a little bit more normal. She doesn't have the crazy veiny muscles and gelatinous
Well, she's supposed to be really muscular, but female muscular, right?
Yeah.
That's
well,
how.
I don't know. I've seen some female bodybuilders that get pretty fucking yoked. So
yeah. But she's kind of supposed to look like that in a lot of ways. She's not supposed to look like the Hulk, like the male Hulk, really, really broad shoulders, really broad chest. She's supposed to just be very defined, muscular, built, but still look like a woman. And I mean, I really like She-Hulk. I think they're going with the route I would have gone with, which is more close to modern comics. I mean, yes, she's a lawyer. That's very important. She's had weird, wacky cases, even defending Howard the Duck in a case in comics. She, as She-Hulk, she's like modern Hulk in the Avengers movies. She has control of her mind, really. She's still Jen Walters when the Hulk takes over. And that's what it seems like they're doing. And yeah, I mean, at the end scene where she's saying, dating in your 30s is a nightmare or whatever. It's not just dating in your 30s. That was my experience on social media apps. I like Tinder. I literally always just swiped everyone right.
That's what you're supposed to do, because if you spend too much time hyping up just one profile, you'll just be disappointed, because most of the time, 99% of the time, she didn't swipe on you because she's probably looking for a sugar daddy. So
yeah,
just don't date online.
Yeah, and 80% of Tinder is bots. So
yeah, it turns out they're trying to figure that out about Twitter right now too. Apparently, it might be a lot more bot than they fucking said.
Oh yeah, we talked about how the Flash in Justice League got voted on Twitter as fan reaction of whatever over the 3 Spider-Mans and the end of Endgame, and we're yeah, that probably got botted, and yeah, just confirmed it got botted crazy out the wazoo.
That's a problem for the Twitter share price, because it might not be worth $48 billion, but if they release too much information about the bots on Twitter, their shareholders could sue the company.
Yeah.
And if they don't take Elon's deal, then the shareholders will sue the company because they turned down a good deal. So fucking stupid. Sorry. It's
Yeah.
it's so like the shareholder politics is so fucking retarded.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like when you talk about shares and in stocks and whatever, like I always think, you know, of you have to have money to make money, because like there's like a guy who like he has a lot of money and he's like trying to like you know, you can't give obviously like financial advice or whatever. But he's like, you know, he's like, well, you know, it really takes risk and reward to make a lot of money, and you know, when it first was talked about that Elon Musk might buy Twitter, and then there was like things saying like Twitter was gonna potentially like force sell to someone else, so Elon Musk couldn't buy it like for a cheaper price and stuff, like, and it looked like it wasn't gonna happen. He's like, I bought $100,000 of stock for Twitter, and then he ended up buying it, and all my shares went up by $15 to $20 each. And he's like, yeah, and I just made like $300K, and it's like, okay, well, for like the normal person who can only spend $100, they only made like $100. Like, you know, like most people don't have that kind of money to pump into stocks.
That's why like I try to stick to penny stocks, because you know, if you're wrong a little bit, but if you're right, sometimes you can be right quite a bit. You know.
Right.
A lot of biotech companies start out as a penny stock company, and sometimes they'll have like the stupidest thing, like, oh, I made a fucking thing that makes quadriplegic people like even more quadriplegic, or they like invented something like, oh yeah, I made a robot eye that actually works and is like super cool.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, like there are strategic things you can do to get ahead in life as far as financially, but like I think a lot of it is just luck too.
A lot of it is like, well, you know, that's what it is at the end of the day. Like, you know, I'm lucky enough to stumble onto this company, and this company happens to be offering their stock at a what I would consider to be a very undervalued price. That's how it pretty much goes 90% of the time in like in penny stocks.
Or I bought a house at the beginning of COVID, and now it's worth twice what it used to be.
Yeah. See how long that lasts. I don't know.
Yeah.
And well, we're right now financially. That's all I gotta say. It's not an easy time to navigate our society. I think is probably the best way to put it.
That's true.
That's why a lot of people, I think, are like, they can't understand the source of their frustration because their frustration is too complicated for even them to understand, and that's like kind of a personal hell. Anyway, we talk about nerd news here. She-Hulk. Sorry to go off on a fucking tangent there, but I don't think actually we haven't done that in a while. Good for us, I guess. We're building our discipline.
I mean, in general, I'm a fan of She-Hulk, so.
I mean, it looks interesting. Like, you know, she's a lawyer. Hopefully, she's going to be doing like, you know, some superhero lawyering. You know, like she's going to be doing a case of managing, like you said. She did a case for like, what character was that? You said that she did like a case for someone like crazy.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, exactly. Like, what if we get that? We already got Howard the Duck. We know he exists in the MCU. He was teased at the end of like, what was that? The first Guardians.
Yeah, and that seems like something they would do in a TV show too.
That would be great. I would love that. I think that would probably sell the show and probably lock it in for another couple seasons. And like they could bring in like obscure characters, which is something I wish. It's another thing, like, when it ties back into the shitty CGI. Another reason I didn't like, I guess, the Spider-Man No Way Home was because like I don't know, like I feel like they could have brought out more wacky villains than the villains we've had in previous movies. But if that's what he really wanted to do for that movie, I guess there was really going to be no stopping him. You know, I think that was another issue I had with it too. Like in Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, we got all these crazy monsters. I don't know why we couldn't have gotten crazy villains in Spider-Man, which is why I'm excited for She-Hulk, because like you said, like if they do crazy, weird, wacky stuff with it, I'm on board for that kind of crazy, weird, wacky stuff, because I feel like we really need to push the envelope as a culture right now, because we're getting kind of stuck. We really are just living in remake world right now. It's a fact of life. Like I'm glad the MCU exists, but at the end of the day, they're just rehashes of comics that people have had for over 50 or 60 years now, and people have attempted to make movies of them before. To be fair, though, they weren't very successful. So
yeah, well, I mean, and you know, like they do have fresh takes on these stories. Like, yeah, they're not just straight out of the comics, which pisses a lot of people off, I'm sure, but makes
Make
that's
some good make some better movies that I enjoy watching and talking about
yeah,
on a weekly basis, at least.
right. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like now like there's so much like the fandom has grown to a point where now everyone is the same.
Hmm.
Like, and this has been happening for years with like other fandoms, like Star Wars is one I always talk about, but like with Marvel now, and it's the same with like, I mean, DC's kind of already been there for a longer time because like of Batman movies and stuff.
Hmm.
But it's like if you go into any comment section about any nerd thing, like anything that's based on a comic book, you see two types of people. Well, they're actually the same type of person, but you see the two different arguments. And the arguments are, if you liked this, you've never read a comic book in your life, or if you don't like this, you've never read a comic book in your life. Right? And like that's what I see everywhere. Like when it came to the Batman movie that just came out, that's all you see. Like those two arguments. And same with Doctor Strange. Like that's all the arguments I see, and I'm just like, yo, first of all, you can read a comic book and watch something that's different from it and still like it. You can never read a comic book and watch something and still enjoy it, and that's okay, or not like it, and that's okay. Like, I don't get this argument, like this elitist nerd thing that's always been around, but it's like, why? Why are nerds so elitist and
I think
gatekeepy?
it kind of boils down to something, and I couldn't give you an exact answer, like 100% of why that is. Like, we're dealing with the human psyche. Whoever knows why the fuck the human psyche does the things that it does.
I have a theory, but go on.
I have a theory too, and the theory is just at the end of the day is that they're frustrated. They don't know what they're frustrated about, and that frustration comes by the fact that like being a member of a fan community is extremely complicated specifically in certain communities because the lore is so deep that it's just hard to really call yourself a fan because at the end of the day you didn't really start from day one with this thing, and like I feel like that really kind of if I feel like there's a sense of where if you weren't like the fear of missing out, but it's like the fear of missing out on day one, where if you're not there like from day one the thing was incarnated, you like aren't a true fan. And I feel like they feel like like they have the self defeating aspect of themselves, and that's why they act so hostile.
You know
Like,
what? That's true for especially older fans because older fans do that a lot. Like even my friend, he'll call me and he'll say I'm a bigger fan of Star Wars because I've been a fan longer. And I'm like, dude, you were born literally 10 years, 12 years before me.
yeah,
Like, of course you've been a fan longer. You've been alive longer. But I know more than you do, and that's okay. But I'm not going to sit here and compete with you about how big of a fan we are. Like, that doesn't mean anything. And just like, nobody's been a fan of Spider-Man since day one. Or that's not a good example because people who were born in the 60s are still alive. But
yeah,
nobody's been a fan of say, Superman since day one.
yeah.
Well, it was 39. There could still be some of those people alive. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like,
Well, exactly.
the majority of people who are fans now.
And you and I understand like this concept where it's kind of just you become a fan, you start enjoying something, and you could say you're a fan of something. It's basically just like you start enjoying this, and you want to connect with other people. The problem is these days is I think that the internet is just really bad for social engagement. Like I think it's a good way to put your own opinion out there, but I don't think it's a good way to engage with others, like on any base level. Like it's just
Yeah.
so much communication gets lost over text, and especially even over video chat. I was talking about this with my therapist last week. Sometimes like we talk over each other because of just the nature of video chatting means that you miss out on very specific social cues, like that are basic to every conversation. I'm making it even worse right now because I'm not showing my face to you because I'm a paranoid asshole.
No, it's all good. No, that's
But
something
you
that
understand what
it's something that comes with time too. Like when I started doing podcasting with Captain Hot Sauce, as we'll call him, we used to talk over each other a lot, and I know it would really irritate him. And I understood that, but like after like a year or so, like we got better. It just sometimes you just have to build that up and like be patient and things like that. But I have a theory that's pretty similar to your theory in a lot of ways, but like I think what it is, why are nerds so gatekeepy and elitist in a lot of ways?
Can I add on one additional thing?
Yeah.
It's also because there are a lot of people that can't get laid and they're really angry and they misproject that anger like literally on everything else in their lives. Okay, back to you. Use
Yeah.
that.
eh, for for me, I think shut up phone. Sorry. I think nerds are so elitist in a lot of ways and very like they want to gatekeep because either they've been a fan their whole life and now they're seeing the thing that they were bullied for as a teenager become cool and popular, and like they hate that it was something that they were like bullied for, and now like it's something people get praised for as like being part of these communities,
Mhm.
or uh, they're they're new fans and they're insecure about their fandom, so they have to like talk shit to other fans and like make it seem like no, I'm the real fan. You don't read comic books.
And I think that's what it boils down to at the end of the day is a lot of insecurity because a lot of geeks and nerds, unfortunately, insecurity permeates a lot of their emotions. Because it's just, I got bullied viciously in high school. I know that the story's a lot different these days, and a lot of kids are coming out like being huge turbo nerds, and no one ever bullied them. But like, I got pencils stabbed into my fucking arm. Like, I got stuff into a locker. Like, I got like literally like my head like jammed into a toilet a couple times. It's not easy being a nerd, or at least it wasn't for a long time. And that insecurity kind of because the thing is like this is supposed to be your domain. It's where you're supposed to be special, and it's the reason you're suffering. And if you feel like oh, I need to be as secure in my position as I ever was at any given moment, and that means being an asshole usually most of the time, because you're just not willing to be vulnerable about your knowledge because you're afraid someone else might like take advantage of that and like clown on you because people on the internet are assholes.
Right.
And yeah, this
But
is what it all boils down to. It's
like
just
if you've gone through that, like wouldn't you never wish that on anyone else?
anyone else, yeah,
Like
exactly. I would never want. Yeah, no, like, but that all you and I are normal human beings that have like
have
regular, everyday, poor parasocial. That's the problem we don't talk about too. Is like we say we're fans, but there are some people where like these movies and these books and these comics or whatever, like they're there someone's entire life, like
yeah.
just one specific thing. You and I have multiple variations of nerdom that we appreciate. So just one thing is in our entire life, and we're just not so tied into this like thing that we're gonna basically fight to the death for it. So that's another thing too that probably goes into it is where it's like all you do is talk about it, all you do is go online. Like there are people like that. Like I'm starting to turn into that kind of person with Fallout 4 because I'm just playing Fallout 4 all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that might change because I got Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll come over to Vampire.
that game is like it's like Fortnite but with vampires that climb buildings and don't build things, right?
Well, that's Blood Hunt. I'm playing a really old school Vampire the Masquerade RPG called Bloodlines.
Uh,
That came out like in the early 2000s. So I really wanted to play it because at the end of the day, I love vampires. I'm a huge vampire fan. And like you had to kind of hide that in the closet for a while because it didn't get you the most sterling reputation.
until Twilight came out.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like when Twilight came out, that's when that's when I started hiding the fact that I was a huge fan of vampires because then everyone just wanted to talk to me about those books. And I actually, to be honest,
Mm,
I haven't really read them, so I wouldn't know. Just I'm barely scratching the surface of the Vampire the Masquerade lore. I really like the vampire lore too. So there's a lot of good vampire stuff coming out. Oh, and Magic the Gathering, there are a lot of vampire decks. I had a commander vampire deck.
mm.
It was great.
Yeah. Yesterday was the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
How does that make you feel?
It was funny because I saw an article yesterday from my favorite news site, Comic Book Resources.
There you go. We should start our own shitty comic. We should start our own shitty book page, I'm telling you.
The headline was, "It's time to accept that Attack of the Clones is severely underrated."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You mean underrated and how like poorly reviewed it is? Because not enough people are on the bandwagon of fucking hating on this movie because of how bad it is.
See, I don't even think it's underrated. I think a lot of fans still enjoy the movie. Like, and if you talk to most fans, they'll tell you like I love this movie or whatever.
okay, whatever. They're lying through their teeth, but they can say what they can have all the wrong opinions they want to have. You know, just like I said, gatekeeping. It's my turn to participate.
Yeah. Um.
I don't know. I just like it. I think my opinions on the movie are really well stated. Like I said, I went back to watch all the Star Wars movies like in a row, and I watched Attack of the Clones, and I like it. I'm coming, let's say, with more of a fresh opinion lately because we've been reviewing these movies and talking about how good they are. That naturally changes your opinion and how you view them over time, right?
Sure.
But man, Attack of the Clones, like there was just no angle. There's nothing. Like there was no like way I could slip in here with like a good word.
So my everything. I don't know. Like there's a lot of nostalgia for me when it comes to Attack of the Clones, but watching Attack of the Clones as an adult is not easy. Like the beginning isn't all that interesting. Oh, someone's trying to murder Padme. Okay, cool. And okay, Anakin and Obi-Wan get assigned to it, and Anakin starts having feelings, which is obvious. I don't really care about Zam Wesell, the changeling, but then hey, Jango Fett, that's cool. Hey, looks like Boba Fett, right? Like, Obi-Wan is great. He's a great character. Anakin is just like, immediately in there. Like swimwear. Oh, you've grown more beautiful. Oh my god. Like, come on, brother. You're not fucking Willy Longschlong. Like, what is happening? And then he saves her from some disgusting bugs, and he gets assigned to take her back to Naboo, and he's just like staring at her and making her extremely uncomfortable, which makes me extremely uncomfortable. Like, all the scenes between Anakin and Padme are very uncomfortable. And that's a good, 40% of the movie. Right?
Yeah.
But, the third act I still think is very good. It's very entertaining. You have Mace Windu show up with a purple lightsaber saying this party's over, doing flips off of balconies and shit. All these Jedi showing up in the crowd killing bugs. Motherfucking armies fighting.
Kit Fisto gets gunned down, and then everybody just casually ignores it for the Clone Wars and General Tartakovsky's here.
I didn't see him get gunned down.
He gets gunned down. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna clown on you live on air.
I remember Kit Fisto force pushing C-3PO's head on a battle droid body. I don't remember him getting shot down. I remember him getting killed in Revenge of the Sith by Palpatine. And then, while you're looking that up, we have the Dooku battle. He annihilates Obi-Wan and Anakin, chops off Anakin's arm, and then Yoda casually walks in like an old fuck and uses the Force with his lightsaber and shit, and he's flipping around like a fucking turtle and shit. It was so cool, okay? I'm a big fan of the ending of Attack of the Clones, but the rest of the movie is hard to watch.
Yeah.
Did you find what you're looking for?
I found the scene. Now I'm scrolling right now. Please continue with the news. What else do we want to talk about? Gatekeeping shitty, basically.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Motherfucker. Shit. Excuse my language. Anyway. Apparently Christopher Walken got cast for Dune Part 2.
What?
Did you
who? As who?
Maybe you guess.
Okay, never mind. It's just some random generic alien. Okay, wait. I think it's gone down. My mistake.
Oh yeah.
I'm the clown emoji. We were saying you want me to guess?
Yeah, guess.
Who he's fucking playing in Dune?
Yeah.
Probably the Emperor Shaddam.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew it. He was a squirrely little piece of shit. I don't want to be mad to Christopher Walken, but Christopher Walken kind of I think he might be able to do a good Shaddam, because we have to remember in the Dune books he was just kind of on the throne. Nobody knew why he was good. Yeah, nobody liked him.
Yeah, and he set up the murder of
the plot murder. The murder plot.
The CW canceled a bunch of shit, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I saw.
Probably because of the Discovery deal, they're cleaning house. But they also ordered to series Gotham Knights, which we talked about previously.
Making a video game for video game 2 called Gotham Knights, probably a concurrent release. It's going to be a cooperative Batman multiplayer game.
They're different teams.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, either way. I mean, you probably might play it at some point, I don't know, we'll see.
Apparently, Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot gains Moon Knight's executive producers. Don't really care, to be honest. What else? Hulu's MODOK animated series got canceled. Not surprising.
It wasn't very good. Yeah, it was claymation, right? That's what I
Pretty
think. That was
much,
like
yeah.
I think that was the one thing I appreciated about it. I think Patton Oswalt was trying a little too hard. And I don't know. It was just kind of weird, funky out of nowhere, and it's on Hulu too, so it's not even with the other DC stuff on fucking HBO. So
Right.
yeah, no good.
The Boys season 3 got a trailer.
Cool.
Have you been watching that?
I watched the first season. And I was like, oh, this is like a brutal, bloody hero. It's like I'm like, I thought it was alright. I mean, again, I watched the first season. I didn't feel compelled to watch season 2, or maybe I just haven't gotten around to it. Like, I haven't read the graphic novel or anything, so
yeah, neither have I watched like the first like 4 episodes, and that was about it. Not because I didn't like it, just because I don't know, I don't feel any like great need to continue watching it. Like I don't feel the need to binge, and I don't know, they're just other things to watch.
Yeah, usually like I play videos on my secondary monitor while I'm gaming, and if I can hear, I keep it lying in the background. If I hear a really intense scene, like I'll just start watching it and pause my game or whatever.
Yeah. Amber Heard says Mira has a reduced role in Aquaman 2. Yeah, she said that while testifying about some shit with Johnny Depp, and
Johnny Depp lost a role, I believe. So
the
But to be fair, upon reviewing that, I remember what role specifically that he lost. Maybe it was probably for the
he lost the role of Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts movies, and also got fired from Pirates of the Caribbean 6.
Yeah, are they making another Pirates?
They were.
Oh. Okay. Why? I thought the last Pirates kind of ended everything when they took Poseidon's trade and like, okay, all the magic of the sea's gone forever.
Oh, I didn't watch. I only watched up to the 3rd one.
See, I'm a huge fan of Pirates of the Caribbean because I saw the first one in theaters, and then it just became kind of an event. The first one was really, really good.
I'm a big fan too. I just didn't because I don't know. I just didn't feel compelled to watch 4, and then I didn't even know there was a 5, to be honest. I'll probably watch them.
5 had Penelope Cruz in it, and it had like a couple other crazy guys and one guy who's playing Blackbeard.
I thought that was 4.
Was that 4? I can't. They're all over the place. I watched. But I've watched every single one of them in theaters. So let me reiterate that.
Yeah, but I like going off what you just said too. That's something we forgot to mention when we talked about Doctor Strange too.
Mm-hmm.
But like going to Marvel premieres still feels like an event, despite the fact that
I forgot you brought that up when you were in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, despite the fact there's so many of them, it still feels special.
Yeah, and we have associations. We associate a specific sound and a specific sight with a specific thing, and every time we go down and sit down in the theater, they play the exact same introduction sequence. I think it's been the same pretty much since, I don't know, day one since we saw Iron Man in the theater. That don, 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 and they have all the clips in the movies and stuff like that. So you're right, it does feel like an event. It feels like an event because they have a very good marketing team, at least. Understand those things, and keeping that logo the same the entire time is super important. It will always capture us whenever they play it in the very introduction.
Right. On the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing though, it's a very complicated situation, and I've been keeping up with the trial and everything, but it's still you're gonna get a bunch of headlines out of it, but the end result is going to be nobody's going to win, really. You probably understand better than most people because you understand something about the law. But Johnny Depp is suing her for defamation because of an op-ed that was published in a newspaper that didn't mention him by name, which is really difficult to prove that like that would have an effect on your career.
I don't know if you just want me to give my opinion quickly, briefly on the whole shebang. This is why I fucking hate family law. I think that they were a very probably people that had a lot of negative personality traits. They got into a relationship. They both had, I think it seems like they both did toxic, shitty things to each other
Yep.
that would egg on toxic, shitty responses from one another. No one wanted to break that chain. It just continued, and it went on and on and on and on until eventually it poured out into court. Now their entire lives are just a clown show for everybody to see in the circus. The judge is overseeing a circus. The lawyers are fighting in a circus. Everyone's there taking pictures of the circus. It's a fucking joke. Family law is a joke. It doesn't really solve anything. It doesn't get to the crux of the issue of relationship at best. Family law, all it really does, like the actual practical effect that family law has, is dividing up property. Aside from that,
well, this is civil.
it is civil litigation, but it is essentially what family law is, which is just people in a relationship wailing on each other.
Yeah, but family law more applies to like the divorce settlement and stuff, and like those kind of things. But yeah, like the other thing people fail to understand is it's even though like it is hard for Johnny Depp to prove, like, since it was published in a paper and like she didn't even necessarily write it, she just contributed to it. Like, it's hard for him to prove that. Or like maybe he should have sued the paper for defamation instead of her or whatever. Like, but it isn't a criminal case where you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. He just has to prove that it's likely that as a result of this, that he lost job opportunities, and it's clear he did lose job opportunities, but he just has to prove that it's likely related to this op-ed.
Yeah. And
that's not as hard to do. Like 50% plus one is all you have to prove in civil cases. That's why O.J. Simpson was never convicted in a criminal court. He was convicted in a civil court.
Yeah. It's a circus, though. Like, it's just, if anyone wants to know, like, they see a bunch of people, like, jumping to Johnny Depp's defense.
Well, yeah.
But it also seems like that he also did his equally of shitty things, and he should have been the bigger man and walked away. And, he, in court, I watched a little bit of it. It seemed like he gave a lot of excuses for why he didn't act that way. But, I guess I'm just kind of done with, like, older, like, people in their 50s, like, complaining about getting into shitty relationships and saying that they, can't control their own actions when they are supposed to be at the apex of adulthood, essentially, and that the wisdom from their life should be, like, actually impacting their decisions on the day-to-day.
I don't know why we care at all about celebrities being shitty people, doing copious amounts of drugs and treating each other like shit. Like,
yeah.
And even, in regular relationships, like, that aren't high profile, like, I'm married, right? And I speak to people who are in relationships, and like, I'm just like, wow, so many people are in such shitty relationships and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not judging them. I'm not going to tell them how to live their lives, but it's like, people tell you their problems with their partners, which, first of all, if you're telling a stranger or a coworker or even your family all your problems, you already have a bad relationship. There's only one person you should go to when you have a problem in your relationship, and that's your partner.
The person in the relationship.
Like, it's okay to need to vent or to get away or to talk to someone else, but it's not okay to talk bad about your partner with your family and your friends.
Or just a need to break. That's the thing. Like, like, people, like, when they talk about relationships, they see, like, they're talking about, like, they're supposed to spend 24/7 with the other person all the time, and like, and all. I haven't. Okay, I can't. I can't speak to this because I don't think I've actually been in a single healthy romantic relationship in my entire life that just didn't end with the other partner cheating on me or with us getting onto a fight over text and then breaking up. So maybe I'm a bad person to speak on this. So maybe you should just keep talking.
No, I mean, it's always a learning curve, right? But like, in relationships where you really value trust and love and security and things like that, like, which you should, I think, like, those are like some of the reasons you want to be in a relationship. you have to really grow up and mature and learn that not everything should be done your way, and it's not all about you, and there's another person there. And like I've had plenty of issues like early on in my relationship, and now we barely have any, because we learned from our mistakes, and we learn from what we do wrong, and we talk and we figure things out. And like, sure, things will still come up and we'll still disagree, and like, people have differences, but when when you when you really love and trust someone, why would you want to go talk bad and make everyone else hate them or dislike them? Why would I ever go talk to my mom or my dad and say, oh, look, I'm having all these problems, and she just doesn't listen to me, or this or that, and we fight about the stupidest things and blah blah. Like, that's like, why would I? That doesn't achieve anything. That doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't even help me like vent. Like, it just achieves nothing. If I have a problem with my partner, I should talk to my partner, right? But so many people like don't do that. Like, they talk to other people because my partner doesn't listen to me. My partner doesn't this blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you're in a bad relationship.
Or they're afraid of the truth, which is the truth is that the relationship just isn't going to work, which is like, it seems to me 50% of the time people are like continuing a relationship. It's just because they don't want to start down that path of like, ending the relationship, because it's just too anxiety ridden for them, which I can understand partly. But also, like, the day-to-day hell of being in a relationship with someone you don't want to be in a relationship with, it can really mess you up. It can turn you into a completely different person. So, you got to be wary of that too. But I don't know. I'm starting to think with these relationships and everything like that, like, it's just, we have so many examples and so much wisdom to draw on, and people still keep making shitty, awful, short-sighted decisions when it comes to romance and love and, building their families and moving to the future. Specifically
Right.
with relationships, like, I understand people making poor life decisions or investing in the wrong company, getting the wrong job, hopping into the wrong career. I can understand all those things, but I don't know, man. Relationships, like, if someone changes completely who they are after 2 months, like, it's a really good red flag that person is probably psychotic, and then you need to leave. This person verbally berates you, it's obvious that physical beration is probably a short way down that road, and you should probably just leave. Like, if uh,
Yeah.
if you there's this thing, like, if you get accident, like, if you get into an unwanted pregnancy with someone and it makes the situation 100 times more complicated, because you didn't want to deny them sex because you thought it would make them upset, because you thought that them being upset would lead to the end of the conversation, like an end to the relationship. That's a shitty position that you put that person and yourself into. Unless you're like in a straight up domestic abuse situation where this person is beating you horrendously and you feel so afraid for your life that you literally can't reach out. That's like one of the things from, like, okay, you made a mistake because this person obviously is a psychopath, but it's just, people need to start making adult decisions. Younger people need to start making adult decisions. Like, I'm talking like 18 or 17 years olds, because we have the internet now. We have an endless repository of information, and it just seems like they want to ignore it or selectively choose the things that they only want to listen to. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, I'm just every. And this
Yeah.
ties back into like what happened with me earlier today, but I'm just getting so awful of being in relationships with people that just do nothing but make terrible decisions for themselves all the time. Like,
Right.
I used to be that kind of person too, but now I'm actively trying to change it. I'm getting my real estate exam at the end of the year, at the end of this month, so I can start making real career level money, so I can build wealth and, like, get my own home and move out of my parents' house, because I don't want to live here forever. It's just, I'm working out. I have a dog. Like, instead of getting a dog and I spend a shitload of money on this dog once a month. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I get her designer food, and I buy her tons of treats, like at least $20 worth of treats every payday, and it's just, I could have not have done that. I could have taken that extra money that I'm putting into my dog and gone to the bar and started a horrible drinking habit. Probably I do smoke too much weed, but it's just something I need to relax at the end of the like, helps me unwind. I don't know why I needed to help me unwind, but it really just helped me focus on the video game instead of focusing on all the horrible social situations that I've been in the past. Because I'm a dweller. That's my problem. That always been my problem, is that I dwell in the past. Sorry, that was a big personal tangent, but
No, that's okay. We all have our things, like, but it's just like, and obviously everyone's different. Like, not every bad relationship is a result of the same thing. But I think a lot of things do boil down to people just want to be loved, and like it takes a long time to learn what that looks like and what that love really is. But it's like some people would rather, like, they just want attention from someone. They just want someone there. They'd rather someone be there and treat them like shit than no one be there at all. And like I've seen, like, my wife has a friend, and it's like she found out, like, I don't want to be specific, or like I'm gonna switch some genders up, but like she found out like her partner was like lying to her and cheating on her, like lying, like ended up getting like DUIs, felt like it was no big deal, like was getting cheated on and stuff, and like so they broke up. But now like she's like, oh well, I want to talk to them and like work things out, and it's like
This
it's
boils down. Yeah, go ahead.
it's just like based on like what I've seen from this person, it's like I can tell like she has people's best interests at heart, and like I think she genuinely has like good intentions in life, but like she has this from what I can see, like this terrible fear of being alone, and she'd rather be in a shitty relationship with someone who treats her like shit and lies to her and cheats on her than be alone.
And that's I think that's another thing that boils down to it too, is like I dwell in solitude. Not only that, I thrive in solitude. That's like just a part of my personality that I think that probably like a lot of people don't understand. It's like, oh well, you're always by yourself, you're always such a loner. Even my parents are like, why don't you like want to go hang out with your friends or like you go outside? The problem is like I'm just kind of a hermit. Like I'm good spending time by myself. Like I'm okay having conversations with myself too. And sometimes weed, like a lot of weed, helps enable that conversation even further about like deep-seated traumas and emotions that I've never been able to work out. One, because of therapy, and two, because of a psychedelic experience, and three, because like just psychoactivity and weed. In those things, I know people. I'm friends with people who say like when they're alone with themselves for even more than 10 minutes, apparently they just start savaging themselves in their mind. That to me, like kind of speaks to like a really unhealthy kind of way of thinking about yourself. But if that's what happens, and you really need someone there to like stop your own thought process from fucking you up, like I guess like that's what you need. Like I need weed. I don't need weed, but well, it helps. It helps. Like if it helps, then it helps. But I don't know. Like I've been pretty alone for a good amount of time too, and I don't know. I just want people to stop getting into shitty relationships and people to stop making shitty decisions. Like, shitty decisions that are obviously going to impact them super negatively in like the coming future, unless like a miracle happens, and which sometimes these do happens, and people who are huge pieces of shit can like look themselves in the mirror one day, like say, oh, I'm tired of like being morally disgusted with myself, and pull a complete 180, turn into a saint. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can fucking happen because human beings are amazing.
Yeah, like for you, like a compatible partner is someone who, at the baseline, respects that you need alone time, and on a higher level, also enjoys their own alone time.
Yeah.
Right. So, but no, I mean I get it to a certain extent, because when I was single for a long time and extremely lonely, like when you'd see dating profiles or like start talking to people and like, oh yeah, I smoke weed, or I smoke cigarettes, or I party every day. It's like, for me, I know in my heart, like I'm never going to be compatible with those people, but it's like, oh, like maybe we'll see how things go, which is unfair for both of us at that point. Like, like knowing it'll never work out because I'm not compatible with that lifestyle. Like it's a mistake to even do it, but you're so desperate for love and attention and affection, like sometimes you compromise like what you want, because
what you know about yourself. Like you basically you turn yourself into a liar because you want to get laid, which is the most common thing.
Okay, I had no interest in getting laid, by the way. I just wanted to meet someone and not be alone.
Well, did you ever furiously masturbate?
Fiercely?
Furiously.
Oh no, I've never been angry while I've masturbated.
See, there you go. You wanted to get laid. It's just very deep in your subconscious.
What do you mean? I mean, it's like it was never like a thing like for me. Like I I was always too like.
If they did do it, you'd be upset. Like, there's this great SNL sketch. I think I'm gonna send it to you. I think probably have some conversations. It's called "Why'd You Like That Photo?" I think it's a good sketch.
Yeah.
It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Okay, interesting. I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, I'll send it your way and see if you feel like giving it a look. But aside from that, basically it boils down to we're a nerd podcast, but
Yeah.
nerds don't get into, but also nerds shouldn't get into shitty relationships because you want to get laid. You should get into a relationship because you want to be happy and healthy and live a wonderful life with this person or persons or whatever. I don't know, whatever you got going on.
To be fair, right, as nerds, we've never had great examples of positive relationships either. At least not like, you and I did a podcast early on when we started podcasting about how terrible relationships in Star Wars are. Just like all of them. They're all bad.
And Padme's relationship is basically just emotionally abusive, and Padme is basically just stereotypical. I can fix him. I know I can fix him. I can change who he is.
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
what are other examples? Like, what are other examples of bad nerd relationships? Like, are there any good ones that you can think of? Because I can't think of good ones.
It's really weird that Peggy Carter's granddaughter is dating Captain America. Like, I don't know why, but I think that's really fucking creepy.
Yeah, Pepper and Tony is not healthy. I mean, it was fine like as things went on, but at the beginning, not healthy.
Stephen Strange and like whatever that chick's name was, and also like their relationship now. Like I feel like they probably should have just cut all communication because obviously they were never going to be able to get past whatever they had.
Yeah, also not healthy. I mean, you can argue that Steve and Peggy, are good, but they didn't really have a relationship until like way later. It's kind of like a impromptu relationship. Jane and Thor, awful, just awful.
Yeah.
Like Jane having to like anytime Thor's around, just like becoming an idiot and minimizing herself because a sexy man is around. Not great. Not a good look for you, my dude. Yeah. I'm sure there's other ones. I mean, even Lord of the Rings, as far as fandom goes, the only real relationship is Aragorn and Arwen. The movies make Eowyn seem like a pining girl after Aragorn, which really is not the case in the books as much.
The books is a lot more healthy. Like she
was in love with his position, not with him, right? Like in the books, like she loved that he was a strong, essentially that he was a king, and that like he didn't look at her as a weak woman or whatever. Like she was in love with the idea of Aragorn, but like she wasn't actually in love with Aragorn.
Yeah, and too, the Aragorn was going. I think a lot of her emotions were directly impacted by the fact that Aragorn was going off on what many people at the time considered to be a complete suicide mission, and so I think that she was probably getting a little, what most people would consider to be emotionally deranged, because this person who is the prophesized king is going into a place where everyone who walks through these doors prophesies to fucking die.
Yeah.
Unless you're one specific person who has one specific riddle from one specific guy that lived just to get this riddle and died, and you got the sword.
Yeah.
And the banner, I think I'm surprised but that was a banner, right? I'm sorry, I'm rereading Lord of the Rings right now, so a lot of it's really a lot more fresh in my mind than when it was when I read it when I was like 14 or 15.
Where are you at?
Right now, he literally, Aragorn literally just rode off, and I think Pippin, Merry, no, it was Merry that went off to Gondor, right, to become a steward.
Pippin went off to Gondor with Gandalf.
Became a steward, and then he just went and spent some time with that other kid, when they were like holding hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sleeping around Gondor, having a great old time. So, and so basically, Strider just rode off with Aragorn and with Legolas, and I just got the classic line, dwarf, an elf will go below ground when a dwarf will not. There was no, additional,
Right.
I
Hey, to be fair, right? Okay, so Ryojin says Faramir and Eowyn book-wise was good. Um, it wasn't bad, I'll say, but Faramir did kind of like stalk her for a while. I mean, but in a romantic way, not like pure stalking. Like for me, like it's one of those things where it's like if I buy flowers for a girl and she actually likes me and thinks I'm attractive, it's romantic. But if she doesn't like me and doesn't find me attractive, it's very creepy. It worked out for them.
Yeah.
As she said, Sam. Yeah, Sam's relationship with Rosie is also was good. Sam and Frodo, I mean, book wise, of course, have a much different relationship than movie wise.
Yeah.
Because Sam is essentially a servant, not
Well, I think a better word to use would be serf. Is probably the better. And serf is a very specific word. Essentially,
I mean, he is a servant, like,
well, in some ways he's a slave. He calls Frodo his master. It's just
right. But like we all love Sam. I mean, Sam's a great character, but like it makes when you're reading the books, it makes you appreciate Frodo more than you would movie Frodo because Frodo treats Sam as an equal in the books. Like even though he does hold a much higher position, like he treats Sam as an equal, which makes you
on
really like.
Frodo and after comparing, we could probably do a whole fucking podcast series on this. But when you compare the books and the movies, like Frodo in the books is a lot more tender. He's a lot more soft spoken. Like he knows Elven language, and I think that comes across a lot more than the books and the movies. Like it just says he talks about how he has a ring, how much of a burden it is, and how much it's impacting him. And then and that's not who was it that played him? I know his name, but I don't know his name right now in this moment. Who is it that played Frodo?
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. There we go. Yeah. And so Elijah Wood, he was a great actor, and he was doing really great. And he was doing, I think, the possession, which is very subtle in the books, which is something I think a lot of people don't give Tolkien enough credit for too. Is like the possession of the ring over time, slowly impacting Frodo's decision making, which is a fantastic plot device and something I think everyone always tries to emulate.
Yeah.
Forever. And it's so yeah, you're right. So the books and the movies are just different. Like that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like they're almost completely different because you have to rewrite you have to make a movie script. Like you have to do the whole thing. So you basically have to rewrite the Lord of the Rings to do the Lord of the Rings movie. And it's it's not easy. And they did a pretty good job. All things considered.
Ryojin said it was like the English officer relationship with their support person. I forgot the name.
Like their little cadet or whatever, like the little person, like the little cabin boy they get assigned. That's something that legitimately happened. Like English officers would get assigned like a little 13-year-old cabin boy. He's usually like someone that they thought would be good to groom into an officer.
So, I mean, if you read like Tolkien's obviously extended works, I mean, Beren and Luthien are. I mean, again, it's not like the best relationship. I mean, again, he did like kind of stalk her, but like it was playful,
Like the relationship with the people that are incesting and they don't even fucking realize it, and then they all kill themselves at the end because they realize. Good stuff. So, that was probably too tragic for the topic of conversation, but I always thought that was super funny.
I always thought it was funny in the House of the Healings when like the one healer lady like she was so gossipy and like when Aragorn showed up she was like no one can help them blah 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 or whatever, and Aragorn's just like, woman, quiet yourself.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. That's the new way. That's the new way of putting basically that
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think there are probably some examples of like good relationships within like nerd things, like, but I think the majority of them aren't great examples of positive, healthy relationships, and a lot of them aren't supposed. Like, if you think of Harry Potter, like, obviously he's like a teenager in school, like he's not gonna have a perfectly healthy, functioning relationship at that age, right? Like, it's just not really a thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like Harry's relationship with Ginny was okay. Like, I don't think it was that bad. Like, I think They were some
Yeah,
weird
it was very appropriate for their ages. Like it made a lot of sense. Like the awkwardness, like Harry was very awkward, like with Cho, with Ginny, even with Luna, and he didn't have an intimate relationship with her. Like he was just an awkward, kid that a lot of people can relate to. So,
All right. I'm gonna go into my reviews. Do you mind if I do my releases for this week?
sure thing.
I'm just a little emotionally, socially burnt out today. Batteries are running on E, so I'll send you the first one, and then I'll send you the second. So I'll do science fiction first. And I didn't read these beforehand, so
That's okay.
so let me know when it's live on the thing.
Okay, hold on. Is that good? Does that show it? Yeah, I mean it's on the thing. Yeah, it's good. Oh, also, I see it up here in the picture.
Week 3, May 17.
Yeah. Star Wars Brotherhood. I bought that.
Oh, cool. Maybe I should buy it too. We could do a book club. Maybe I'll see if it's at Barnes & Noble and go buy there tomorrow or something.
I got it on Amazon. It arrived in a day, and it has a discount. So
I like going to Barnes & Noble though.
I do too. But actually, you have one close to you, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah. Week 3 right there. So first one for releases from Tor for science fiction of the week 3, May 17th. The first one is The Emergent. This is number 2 in the Cosmic series. It is by Nadia Afifi. Amiria Valdez's adventure continues in The Sentient as she finds herself in unprecedented danger, which is danger that does not have prior precedent.
Yep.
So,
never seen before.
Very, very new danger. The ruthless leader of this fundamentalist trilogy compound seeks to understand the strange neurological connection with Amira and unleash an army of the unstable on North America. The first human clone has been born, but thanks to mysterious scientist Tony Barlow, it may unlock the secret to human immortality. Faster. Together, these two characters must form an alliance, break through science, and do some cool stuff. Sounds like an interesting little sci-fi series. So if you like the Cosmic series, Cosmic 2 is now out. There you go. Congrats. Going on to number 2, The Ice Ghost, and Rewilding Reports number 2 by Kathleen O'Neill Gear. In the brutal ice age caused by a Drummond war, many archaic human species and different caveman species on the verge of the extinction. A Neanderthal holy man Trogon has a vision. Legends say that the ended old war left one hostage, blah blah blah. The godlike Jimin, leader of the Old Woman of the Mountain. According to Trogon's vision, only one person knows the location of the burial cave. You must capture young Quiller and force her to lead him there, for the old woman may not be dead. She may only be in stasis for 1,000 summers and be when reawakened. So this sounds a lot more like fantasy than science fiction. But maybe because it's set in a very hyper realistic, Neolithic age, maybe that's why it's considered science fiction. Maybe a little bit of time travel. Or maybe, I don't know, aliens are giving them visions. I don't know. So there you go. Ice Ghost Rewilding Reports number 2. There you go. So now we're going over to new fantasy series.
Oh. Okay. All right. Hold up.
There's a shitload of books out this week. All right. So I'm going to do a quick little...
Okay. Week 3.
Week 3, May 17th. Alright, so the first one is The Stardust Thief, which is apparently a new series launching in the Sansi series number 1 by Chessie Abdullah. Seems to be whoever Lula al-Narazi is. They become the Midnight Merchant, and then eventually she rediscovers her past, and she discover her enemy, her magic, and even her own past is not what it seems, and she must decide who she become in this new reality. Sounds like it's a very Arabic-oriented fantasy, which is great, unique, good take. So yeah, if you want to read it, go read it. Next one is The Heron's King's Flight, The Heron King's number 2 from Eric Lewis. The Heron Kings have been betrayed a century after their formation from a gang of desperate peasant insurgents. The Shattered brand of forest rangers suffer a rare defeat with the skirmish turns into a bloody ambush. Their only hope lies in the forgotten tactics of their own guerrilla past and a terrifying new chemical weapon, the likes of which the world has never imagined. So, sounds like an intense little series. Go check it out. If you like the Heron Kings, or if you like Rangers, or if you like brutal. It seems like this is more of a gritty sort of fantasy. So there you go. All right. All the Seas of the World by Guy Gabriel K. On a dark night, on a loggy stretch of coast, is a small ship sending two people ashore. Their purpose is assassination. Ooh, mysterious. They're on revenge. They were kidnapped by seafaring people. Then they're being returned to the place that they were being kidnapped from. One of these people is exiled. The other was kidnapped. I guess they gotta go and kill whoever is in charge of this fantasy nation. So there you go. Oh man, hope we don't get burned. Okay, 2 more to go. Don't worry. The Hourglass Throne, Tarot Sequence number 3 by K.D. Edwards. As Rune's St. John grapples with the challenges of assuming the Sun Throne, a powerful barrier appears around the new Atlantis' famed Rejuvenation Center. Apparently, blah, 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 blah. Something this raises political companions, finds someone, blah, blah, blah. And as Rune finds himself inexorably drawn back to the fall of his father's court and his own torture at the hands of the masked conspirators, the secrets that he has long guarded will be dragged into the light, changing the Sun Throne and New Atlantis forever. So this is book 3 in the Tarot sequence, which is good because that means it's it's good to have a book series that's chugging along. It means you have usually they announce how many books is going to be in this run. So if you're looking to get into a fantasy series that's going to be chugging along for a good while without the writer just flipping out halfway through, go check out the Hourglass Throne, which is part of the Tarot sequence. And finally, the last book is Razzmatazz by Christopher Moore. San Francisco, 1947. Bartender Sammy Two Toes Tiffin and the rest of the Cookies Coffee Irregulars, a ragtag bunch of working mugs last team in Noir, are on the hustle. They're trying to open a driving school, Shanghai an abusive Swedish stevedore, get Mabel, the local madman, and her girls to a Christmas party at the state hospital without alerting the overzealous head of the SFPD, Vice Squad, all while Sammy's girlfriend, Stilton, aka the Cheese, and her Wendy the Welder gal pals are using their wartime shipbuilding skills on a secret project that might be attracting the attention of some government men in black. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot going on in that one, it seems. So, give it a read. And Razzmatazz from Christopher Moore.
Jesus.
And that's it. That was a lot.
I found some quick news to speed run.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is crazy interesting. Star Wars' Kathleen Kennedy says Solo proved recasting major roles as a failing move, and moving forward, they will not do it.
Solo actually was pretty. Well, we're supposed to be speedrunning, so I guess we can talk about that later. But I thought Solo was actually. I thought it was actually pretty good. I just thought it didn't do very well because wasn't there one major release right next to it, and
Oh yeah, it also got no. What happened was, it had been moved forward 7 months. And nobody knew, even the year it came out, I think it was 2018. I still thought in February of 2018 that it was coming out in December. It came out in May.
There were no trailers or anything like that,
And it came out 5 months after The Last Jedi.
And so people were all fucking miffed, and they were looking for reasons to go and be on Solo, basically. So
right. And
Kennedy, we're not big fans of her here on the show, and that doesn't come from the fact that she's a woman. It comes from the fact that it just doesn't seem like she's handling the Star Wars IP too well. But I guess we got into a lot.
I mean, and there's movements on Twitter about make Solo 2 happen and stuff. Anyway, apparently Marvel Studios is rumored to be working on a live-action Captain Carter project.
Okay, good. Hopefully it won't suck. I think the lady who plays Peggy, that's her name, right? Peggy?
Yep.
I think whoever she is, she's actually a really good actress, and she was solid whenever she was acting. So
yeah, it's Haley Atwell.
Yeah, Haley Atwell. Yeah, if they think that she can pull it off, I'm more than happy to sit down and watch Captain Carter. If they make a Disney Plus show, and we'll review it, and I'm sure we'll have our opinions on it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the speed run. I don't see anything else.
Oh well, that was a really quick speed run. New high score.
Yeah. But I mean, that's some crazy news. Some of it. Stuff
Yeah,
happened.
Kathleen Kennedy saying things that'll piss nerds off all the world. Nerds that don't usually like you and me don't get very angry and upset about things, and nerds that get angry about everything. So
Yeah.
All right, I need to get off the internet because I want to go play a vampire video game where I eat people and drink their blood and seduce people. Even though I'm playing the one vampire class that literally can't seduce people because they're horrible creatures of the night. But whatever.
Wicked. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out, and see you next time.